It's a great freedom to be down in the west. You know, Kerala is a fantastic little coastal village. I mean, even the views from here as I leave every evening, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. I've always wanted to do the kind of creative work, you know. Even when I was in school, I suppose, when I was doing woodwork or something like that, it was always the one subject that I'd be really interested in. I didn't do metalwork in school, but woodwork definitely. So I think I always knew I'd work with my hands anyway, you know. I saw this course out in Balmullet. I was doing traditional blacksmithing, and it was 2 years of the coal forge and the anvil. So I did my 2 years there, and then I worked for a man called Bill Corduroy, a master blacksmith in England, until I eventually kind of said that I'd set up myself. I'm just going to kind of hammer it into the timber here, give it a bit of shape and definition. Just using a rubber hammer, not to damage the shape of it. And then just forge the end of it around just on the anvil. Just gives it a bit of shape and a bit of a flow to it. I do everything from, you know, candlesticks to fire grates to lighting to bigger things like staircases and gates, garden furniture. I mean, I basically work with steel and copper, like work with metals. But I've collaborated, I've done glass tabletops, worked with wood, just about anything I can get my hands on. The main material that I would use would be mild steel. It has to be worked at a fairly high heat, otherwise you're just going to overwork yourself. So you kind of try and make the steel do most of the work. The Celtic water twist is a traditional twist, and it's made by forging the bar down into an octagonal shape, and then we heat up about 1 inch of it at a time, and then just twist it clockwise and anti-clockwise. So it's a matter of controlling the heat, and if you can control the heat, you can kind of twist it whichever way you want. Some use it just as a decorative feature, use it in candlesticks. With the table, it was basically the client came to me and they had a beautiful piece of Irish ash and that they wanted to make a table out of. They wanted something that would kind of complement the timber. Once we've come up with the design, we bring it in here onto a sheet of steel and draw it out full size. We can work out the measurements off that and cut the materials, and we'll go from there. The techniques that I use don't differ from techniques used by blacksmiths for years. The only difference is maybe that, you know, I'd have a gas forge as opposed to a coal forge. I have a power hammer, which is basically just it's just for drawing out the heavier material. It just allows me to work on a bigger scale. Say working with the power hammer, you have to master the anvil first before you can. If you can't do it on the anvil, there's no point trying to go near the power hammer. You shouldn't be working too hard on the anvil, just kind of shaping stuff on it, and you shouldn't be killing yourself out. It's just knowing every part of the anvil and knowing how to make it work. And it's a great tool, but it needs a lot of practice. I generally make up jigs for the different curves. So once I get the jigs made up, then I just forge them out and bend them around the jigs. There's a lot of time that's gone into adjusting them and making sure they're all spot on. With this line of work, I think it's the kind of freedom to make just about anything. You'll be coming up with different ideas to make stuff all the time, but as far as, I think I'm still trying to find a certain style myself, I suppose. But yeah, I've done some pieces that would be very organic, and then others that would be very traditional. Just trying to feel out what I feel most comfortable doing. After I've bent all the pieces around the jigs or formed all the scrolls, then they're laid down and they're matched up with the drawing to make sure that they're right. And then there's the wraps that are put onto them. And then there's the finish as well. There's the wire brush finish that kind of brings up the steel. There's a lot of stuff that's mass-produced now, so I think people have an appreciation for quality work, and they're willing to
to spend the money, I suppose, to get something that's going to last and that's going to have quality and be unique, and even that they might have had their own kind of input into. Now that the wrap is completed, we'll just tweak a couple of the scrolls and wire brush them, and it just brings the steel down to its bare form. Now that we have the two sides assembled, we have it wire brushed off and we've clear lacquer finish put onto it. It's just giving it a wipe down. So next stage we're going to get the timber top, and we're just going to basically put that onto it. It's a 200-year-old piece of Irish ash, and it keeps the bark on both sides, so it's a lovely feature of this piece of timber, and it's a lovely grain in it as well. I enjoy working on the pieces. I enjoy doing different pieces each time. The fact that I don't have to come in and do the same piece every day, and it's a very time-consuming kind of a job, and you do get burned the odd time, and sometimes it doesn't work. But generally, when it does, it's lovely to see it finished and know that it's going to last a lifetime.